The microphone was 6 inches from Cal Merritt's face, and he had nothing. Not nerves, not exhaustion, something else. Something that had been sitting in his chest since Daytona, growing quietly through Atlanta, and now here at Las Vegas it had become too large to speak around. The reporter was waiting. The crowd behind the pit wall was loud. Confetti was still falling in slow, lazy spirals through the desert air. Cal pulled off his helmet. His hair was soaked. He was 31 years old, and he had just won his 3rd consecutive race to open a Cup Series season, and no driver had ever done that, and everyone around him was saying so, loudly, repeatedly, as though saying it enough times would make him feel it. He didn't feel it yet. He felt something else. He handed the helmet to his crew chief, Dany Okafor, who clapped him on the shoulder and said something Cal didn't catch. The crowd noise swallowed it. Cal nodded anyway. The reporter, young woman, notebook, earpiece, stepped closer. Cal, what's going through your mind right now? He opened his mouth. He thought about his father. He closed his mouth again. Give me a second, he said. Dany Okafor had been Cal's crew chief for 4 years. He had seen Cal win before. He had seen Cal lose in ways that would have broken other drivers. Tire failures on the final lap, pit strategy calls that aged Dany 10 years, a wreck at Talladega that had left Cal sitting in the infield grass staring at the sky for a long time before the medical crew reached him. He knew Cal's silences. This one was different. Dany stepped between Cal and the reporter, not aggressively, just positioning himself close enough to give Cal a half-second of breathing room. He'll be right with you, Dany said. He leaned toward Cal and kept his voice low. You good? Cal looked at him. His eyes were clear. He wasn't hurt. He wasn't overwhelmed in the ordinary way. My dad used to watch qualifying laps from the 3rd turn, Cal said. Every single time. Never the start, never the finish, just qualifying. 3rd turn. Dany waited. He said that's where you find out what a driver actually is. Not under pressure, just running clean, by himself, no traffic. 3rd turn. Dany didn't say anything. I don't know why I'm thinking about that right now, Cal said. Because it matters, Dany said simply. Cal looked at the microphone. The reporter was patient. The crowd was not, but that was the crowd's problem. Okay, Cal said. Okay. He stepped forward, but before he reached the microphone, a second reporter pushed in from the left. Older, louder, already talking. Cal, is this sustainable? 3 wins is a streak. How do you keep from peaking too early? Cal stopped. It was the wrong question asked in the wrong way at the wrong moment, and something in Cal's expression shifted in a way Dany recognized and did not entirely like. Cal looked at the second reporter for a moment. Peaking, he said. 3 wins in 3 races. Some analysts are saying the pressure from here only gets heavier. How do you manage expectations? Cal was quiet. Around him the noise continued. Engines cooling, crew members moving equipment, someone laughing nearby at something that had nothing to do with any of this. My father died in February, Cal said. The reporter blinked. 3 weeks before Daytona. Nobody had known this. It had not been in any press release. Cal had not mentioned it in any of the post-race interviews after Daytona or Atlanta. He had answered questions about setup and tire strategy and drafting and had not mentioned it once. I'm sorry, the reporter said, and meant it, and stopped talking, which was the right thing to do. He watched every qualifying lap I ever ran, Cal said. 3rd turn. He had a thing about 3rd turns. He said that's where the honest part of a lap lives. He paused. I don't know what peaking means. I don't know what sustainable means. I know what the 3rd turn feels like at 200 miles an hour when everything is working and the car is doing exactly what you asked it to do. That's what I know. He looked directly at the camera. I've been trying to show him something. I know that doesn't make sense. Behind him, Dany was very still. It made complete sense. That was what worried him. Because Dany knew something Cal didn't know yet. Something he had been waiting for the right moment to say. something that could not wait much longer. Dany found Cal in the hauler 40 minutes after the trophy presentation. Cal was sitting on the bench seat with his fire suit unzipped to the waist, drinking water and looking at nothing in particular. The celebration was still going outside. Music, voices, the organized chaos of a winning team processing a win. Dany sat down across from him. He put an envelope on the table between them. Cal looked at it. "What is this?" "Your father left it with me," Dany said, "at Daytona, before qualifying. He came to the garage." Cal was very still. He said, "Give it to you after the third win." His words exactly. After the third one. Dany's voice was careful and steady. He said, and I wrote this down because I wanted to get it right. He said, "Dany, the boy doesn't listen when things are going well. He listens after. Give it to him after the third one." Cal did not reach for the envelope. "He knew," Cal said. "He believed," Dany said. "There's a difference. He told me he believed you'd win 3 straight. I thought he was a proud father talking." "He wasn't wrong about much," Cal said quietly. "No," Dany agreed. "He was not." Cal picked up the envelope. It was sealed. His name was written on the front in his father's handwriting, which was small and precise and slightly left-leaning. The handwriting of a man who had spent 30 years filling out maintenance logs. Cal held it for a long time without opening it. Outside, someone fired up a speaker and the bass moved through the hauler walls like a slow heartbeat. "I'll leave you alone," Dany said, standing. "Stay," Cal said. Dany sat back down. Cal opened the envelope. There were 2 pages inside, handwritten, front and back. He unfolded them carefully. His father's handwriting, small and left-leaning and precise. He read it silently at first. Then, without planning to, he began reading it aloud. Not for Dany specifically, just because the words needed air. "Cal, Dany will give you this after 3. I told him 3 because I know you. 1 win and you're already thinking about what went wrong. 2 wins and you're managing it. 3 wins and you might actually stop for a second and be in the room. I want to tell you something I never said directly because you're like me and we don't do that well face to face. Here it is. I was never watching to see if you were fast. I already knew you were fast. I was watching to see if you were honest. The third turn is where you find out. Not because it's the hardest part of the track, because it's the part between the hard parts. No wall pressure, no draft to manage, just you deciding how much you trust the car and how much you trust yourself. Some drivers flinch there. They give back a little speed they earned on the straightaway because something in them isn't sure yet. You never flinched. I watched you run that turn for 15 years. Karts, late models, trucks, cup cars, different tracks, different setups, different everything. You never flinched in the third turn. That's not about talent. I've seen talented drivers flinch. That's about something else. Something I don't have a clean word for. Something to do with deciding before you ever get to the turn that you trust what you built and you trust yourself inside it. I want you to know I saw that every time. Even when you didn't win. Even when the car failed or the strategy was wrong or something happened that had nothing to do with you, I was watching the third turn and you were always honest in it. That's what I came to see. That's what I was always there for. I don't know how many races are left for me to watch. The doctors have opinions and I have my own, but I want you to know, whatever happens in the third turn after I'm gone, I already know what you're going to do. You're going to trust the car. You're going to trust yourself. You're not going to flinch. Run clean, Cal. Third turn every time. I love you. Dad. Cal folded the letter slowly. He sat with it in his hands for a long time. Outside the hauler, the music was still playing and the team was still celebrating, and the Nevada sky was going dark and orange above the speedway lights. Dany was quiet. He had not moved. He came to qualifying, Cal said finally. Daytona. I looked for him after. Someone said he'd already left.
He watched the third turn, Dany said. Then he came and found me.
Cal nodded. He thought about the third turn at Daytona, the way the car had felt underneath him, the particular quality of trust in that moment. Not certainty, not arrogance, just a clean willingness to commit fully and let the physics decide. He had felt it at Atlanta. He had felt it tonight. He had felt it, he realized now, because someone had taught him to feel it. Not with instructions, with attention, with showing up to the third turn for 15 years and watching. "I need to change," Cal said. He stood up, he folded the letter once more and held it. "Tell them I'll be out in 10 minutes. "I'll tell them 20, Dany said. Cal almost smiled. 10, 20, Dany said, and stood up and walked out of the hauler. Cal stood alone in the quiet. He held the letter. He thought about every third turn he had ever run and understood for the first time that he had never run any of them alone. He put the letter carefully in the inside pocket of his fire suit, against his chest, and began to get ready to go back out. There were still races to run.